Today on the Morning Edition, after a shocking death on an ATV, family, friends, and community come together to honor the lasting legacy of Skye Rench. The memories shared and how they're keeping his spirit alive. Plus,
severe weather kills dozens of people across several states. I'm Derek Waller with the latest on those dangerous conditions and how communities are picking up the pieces this morning.
And later, St. Patrick's Day celebrations kicked off around the country and here at home over the weekend. From green beer to four-leaf clovers, how people are marking the day as the Morning Edition starts now. Good Monday morning, everyone, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Somebody's got to pinch Aaron over here because he's not wearing any green.
Well, there's a reason
to be fair,
I can't
you
wear
can't,
green.
but still have to be pinched.
Good news is with us ushering in St. Patrick's Day, that means spring just right around the corner. May not feel like it this morning. We are waking up to one of the coldest mornings we've seen in over a month. We have to go back to February 13th when we last saw temperatures dip down into the teens across parts of South Central. And we are waking up at 17 degrees with winds out of the north at 6 miles per hour. We've seen some additional snow accumulation through the night. We are going to watch some additional rounds of some snow later this evening on into your Tuesday. 5 degrees currently in Eureka, 7 in Talkeetna, 25 degrees in Valdez, and 26 as you head out towards Seward. Now, many areas sitting on the drier side this morning, but we're still holding on to some of those on and off snow showers that could lead to some additional light accumulation to be expected for the first part of the morning. So we'll be watching that for the first half of your Monday, and then into the evening hours, we will be watching an additional band of some snow that will build back in across South Central, and that will lead to some additional accumulation across the region. Some of the heaviest snow will take aim out towards the Chugach Range, parts of the Copper River Basin, and then as you head through western parts of the Susitna Valley, we're also going to see that chance for some significant accumulation. Western parts of South Central, from Anchorage through southern parts of the valley, may see an additional 1 to 2 inches here into our Tuesday and Wednesday, so we'll be watching for that with some locally heavier amounts to be expected as we're still holding on to somewhat of a snowy weather pattern the next couple of days. So we do have that chance for some snow this morning. Just take it easy on the roadways, keeping with some light snow activity possible through the afternoon, and then we'll see that better chance for some snow arriving into the evening hours. I'll have more on that 7-day forecast for you coming up.
Gone too soon, but cherished forever. Over the weekend, loved ones gathered to honor Skye Rench, a man who embodied adventure, hard work, and loyalty. As Joe Allgood reports, he left a lasting impact, and now family and friends are keeping his spirit alive.
Skye was not one to sit down and watch life go by. Skye was life.
A community remembers one of their own.
Hardworking, compassionate, stoic. Words like that come to mind.
Words to describe Skye Rench, who went missing in an ATV accident in early March. Survived by his family and fiancée Heidi. The two met in high school while growing up in the Mat-Su.
He's also very loving. He has a sensitive soul, and he taught me how to be loved.
A lover of the outdoors and anything with a motor.
That kid was true Alaskan, through and through.
Skye participated in the 2025 Iron Dog, his machine on display at Saturday's memorial dinner.
It was like a release to him, like a therapy almost. And it was an easy way to get all of his friends together and just enjoy themselves.
A hard-working lineman who lived to play harder.
The mama heart couldn't handle all his adventures, and he actually sent me a picture with him wrapped in bubble wrap.
With many friends and many more memories.
There's just so many memories. It's hard to pinpoint one, I think. I don't know, I can't really pinpoint one.
Usually found in his favorite NASCAR t-shirt.
He would just always wear this. He would wear it at like the worst times. I'm like, why do you have that on right now?
And a big fan of hugs.
When Skye hugged, he hugged with his entire self. You knew that you were the most important person in that room when you were getting a hug from Skye.
So many came to remember Skye, leaving standing room only at his memorial service.
It's heartwarming, it's overwhelming. A lot of pride in my heart right now. And I just thank the community for loving him and taking him under their wings when I wasn't able to.
Heartwarming and heartbreaking.
It's been difficult. I definitely go through waves of emotions.
I do want him to come home. I don't want the search to end. I know that an active search has ended, and I get that. We want safety for everyone. We don't want anyone getting hurt. But I still, from my own heart, I need him home.
I don't want to reflect on this and think of it as such a negative thing. I want to celebrate his life for the rest of my life and always keep him in my mind and around all these people here, just to keep him alive as we can.
Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
Skye Rench's father, Thomas, also reached out to Alaska's news source, sharing how he raised Skye in the outdoors and coached him through football and wrestling. The second victim has been identified as Sean Kendall. A GoFundMe has been set up for Kendall's wife and young son. Another weekend vigil, this one for 14-year-old Emily Pike, who was killed last month in Arizona. Pike was part of the San Carlos Apache tribe, according to a missing and murdered Indigenous people advocate. The vigil also served as a reminder of the many MMIP in Alaska and across the nation.
We're here to uplift her story and stand in solidarity with the San Carlos Apache tribe. And we also want to bring awareness to the fact that this is not an issue just in Alaska, it's all over the nation. And we really need to highlight Emily Pike's story because it's not being covered a lot, and we really need to protect our children.
There are no suspects in Emily's case. A bill was passed last year increasing resources for the Department of Public Safety for investigating MMIP cases. Troopers say those cases remain a priority.
The legislature and the governor have given us every resource we've asked for, whether it's adding 4 dedicated missing and murdered Indigenous people investigators that work in the Alaska Bureau of Investigation, whether it was the efforts last year passing Senate Bill 151, which codified a lot of what DPS has been spearheading since Commissioner Cockrell took office.
Troopers say they have seen a high success rate in all homicide investigations in the past several years. Turning to Capitol coverage, the education bill is in the hands of the Senate Education Committee this morning. HB 69 passed the State House last week after several days of contentious debate. In addition to an initial increase in the base student allocation, the bill proposes more increases through 2028. If signed into law, the bill would annually increase K-12 school funding by roughly $250 million. The bill passed the House in a 24-16 vote, with members of the Republican minority joining the bipartisan majority. This week's hearings are open to public testimony. Meanwhile, Alaska is still facing a $200 million deficit despite a revised state revenue forecast. According to the Alaska Beacon, Governor Dunleavy's proposed spending plan leaves a gap, and lawmakers are weighing options, including possible cuts to the permanent fund dividend or even dipping into state savings. Local utility companies are monitoring Mount Spur closely as volcanologists warn of a higher likelihood of eruption. They're urging Alaskans to stay informed and prepared. Wednesday, the Alaska Volcano Observatory said the chances of an eruption have increased, though it's still uncertain and likely to come with more warning signs. Friday, Chugach Electric reassured customers via Facebook they're aware of the situation, and while ash could potentially affect the power grid, they don't expect outages. Communications manager Julie Haskett says they're closely watching developments, but can't predict exactly how the situation will unfold.
I will say that our 2 newest power plants, SPP and the Sullivan plant, those have jet engines, so those would be shut down in a real ash fall because those jet engines, as we know from other instances, are very sensitive to ash. But we have other resources. We have a power plant at Beluga. We have one downtown. There's an older plant down at Sullivan that's not quite so sensitive. And we have hydro. So we don't anticipate having an issue with having enough resources to supply power.
We've done extensive coverage on things you can do to prepare at home. All of that information is available on our website. We'll continue to keep you updated here on Alaska's News Source. Hundreds of Alaskans rely on emergency shelters to stay off the streets, but with the warming weather, time is running out. With Anchorage winter shelters set to close and a new plan in the works, questions remain about where people will go. Lauren Maxwell reports on what city leaders say needs to happen and when.
This shelter in Midtown is where John Henderson lives.
Since February 29th, 2024.
He says he doesn't love it.
It's like a Peyton place. I mean, there's drama going on all the time.
But for now, it's home. This 200-bed shelter will close permanently at the end of October. Others will close sooner. Emergency winter shelters will wind down by the end of April, which means hundreds of people now staying in hotel rooms will have to find another place to live.
We're working hard on a year-round shelter plan, and a big part of that is to avoid that situation where shelter beds close and suddenly, there are hundreds of people out in the streets and camping.
The city says there is funding for 3 year-round shelters, smaller in size, scattered in different parts of town. In addition, it plans to open a new shelter for people who wouldn't do well outside.
In this shelter season, what we recognized is that we really saw a large number of highly vulnerable individuals. So we will maintain 100 non-congregate shelter beds for our most vulnerable folks.
The city wants to open new shelters as soon as possible, but it's not clear if that can happen before many people are forced to head outside. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's news source.
In another development, the city says it has nearly $5 million in federal funding that can be used to rapidly rehouse people and provide some rental relief. It says that should be enough money to get at least 150 people into permanent housing. Coming up, lack of lacing up for luck. Runners hit the streets for Anchorage's annual Shamrock Shuffle. How this festival 5K is making a difference. And later, a rookie's remarkable run, earning the title of Rookie of the Year. How this racer made a mark in the Iditarod and what's next.
Snow continues across South Central as we welcome in your Monday. I'll have more on that. But first, we'll have a look at your sunrise and sunset as we approach those 8 p.m. sunsets. A sunrise at 8:08 in Anchorage, a sunrise at 8 o'clock in Fairbanks. Your full forecast is next.
Happy St. Patrick's Day! Cheers!
On Saturday, runners laced up and dressed in green for the annual Shamrock Shuffle in Anchorage. Despite chilly temperatures, over 1,000 participants took part, the largest turnout since before the pandemic. The 5K race ended at Beartooth Theater Pub, where finishers celebrated with pint glasses in hand. Proceeds from the event support Running Free Alaska, a program providing athletic gear to those in need. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Aaron.
And they were met with some snow on the ground. We've been seeing a stretch of some snow showers that have been with us since the middle of last week. And that's brought many areas across the Anchorage Bowl upwards of a foot of snowfall with some locally heavier amounts across the rest of South Central. Now, with that 11.8 inches of snow we've seen since last Wednesday, or since that snow began last Wednesday, this is the most snow for Anchorage since late October. This is also nearly 3 times as much snow as what we did see during winter. Winter officially brought in 4.6 inches of snow accumulation, and you can see for the spring months we're already sitting at just under a foot of snowfall. 2 below in Fairbanks, 17 degrees currently in Anchorage, 8 Northway as you head out towards Tok, and you can still see cold conditions along the slope in areas out west. We have been holding on to this cooler conditions for the past several days, and we are watching signs of warmer weather by the middle of this week, but we've got to get through the next couple of days where we're still going to hold on to some of these cooler conditions. Additional snow showers still expected across South Central for your Monday morning. What we're watching is active weather out towards the Aleutians. This is actually going to drive more snow into South Central later this evening into the overnight hours on into your Tuesday. So there's that light additional snow showers we're still seeing for parts of Prince William Sound and South Central. As you head out towards Yakutat, we do have a winter weather advisory that remains in effect until 4 p.m. this afternoon, where we could see anywhere from 4 to 5 inches of snow accumulation. But notice, we'll keep with that that chance for some snow through the afternoon. Should see some dry breaks, and then there's that additional bands of snow pushing in overnight on into your Tuesday. Now, the heaviest snow will fall as you head out towards western parts of the Susitna Valley, western parts of Prince William Sound, southern parts of the Kenai, and through Prince William Sound. As you head out towards Kenai, Seward, Anchorage, and southern parts of the valley, we'll see some light snow showers, nowhere near what the rest of South Central will see, but we'll see that potential for about 1 to 2 inches with some locally heavier amounts. So we'll be watching for that into our Tuesday with some additional light snow lingering into our Wednesday, and then things kind of taper off through the rest of the week with warmer weather building back in across South Central. So looking at that snow model trend, when we're looking at several of our models, the overall average is showing roughly about 1 to 2 inches expected here over the next couple of days for Anchorage and surrounding locations. And keep in mind, we will see some locally heavier amounts. So we are going to be watching for that the next couple of days. Be careful on those roads this morning. We do have that light snow continuing and some slick spots. Those temperatures are in the teens. So it is the coldest morning we've seen since about February 13th. We've got that evening snow that's going to spread back in across the Kenai. Those temperatures today will stay in the 20s and the 30s. So we're still holding on to somewhat of that cooler weather pattern. 27 degrees in Volcano. Overnight lows still expected to dip down into the teens across South Central. We've got 29 in Willow today, as well as Palmer. Wasilla may make a run near 30 degrees, and you can see that 7-day forecast. Staying on the cooler side the next couple of days. That snow tapers off by Wednesday morning into the afternoon hours. We officially begin spring Thursday, and you can see that stretch of warmth staying with us into the weekend. Kristen, those temperatures likely topping out in the low to mid-40s.
All right, thanks, Aaron. The Alaska Department of Transportation is seeking your input to help make the Alaska Marine Highway more stable for Alaskans. The plan, which would be worked on by the department over the next 20 years, would start by working to replace the older model vessels on the water. Alaska Marine Highway Operational Board Chair Shirley Marquardt says by upgrading the ships gradually, the system will become more stable because they can plan the maintenance of the ferries in a way that's more convenient for consumers.
I think enhanced reliability in terms of the plan means that with the newer vessels, with the vessels that don't have to spend so much time in the yard, that aren't constantly there over their scheduled time because of everything that's found while they're in there, you have them getting out, you have them staying on schedule better and being able to make the schedule that people are depending on.
The second issue they are planning to tackle is the lack of staff for these new ships. Marquardt says the first step is to bring the careers to those in our own communities.
You're going to see, a really concerted effort from the folks in ADOT and AMHS to go to different communities, different high schools, colleges there, and talk to kids about you could have a career right in your own backyard.
The comment period is now open. You can find a link to that and the plan on our website. Broadway lights are dimming, at least for now, at the Alaska Performing Arts Center. The PAC announced it'll pause Broadway shows next season, citing rising costs as the main reason. That means highly anticipated productions, including The Lion King, are now canceled. PAC officials say this isn't a step back, but a move to stabilize finances and secure future shows for Alaskan audiences.
You've been listening to the Alaska's News Source podcast. Subscribe to have the latest episodes delivered to your library automatically.